Hey, Frontline fans, welcome back to Comic Frontline. And fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do my top 5 Rebirth titles for the month of June. If you guys haven't seen Kat Comic Uno's top 5 yet, go ahead and check it out. She did hers on Wednesday. Obviously, I'm doing mine today. And then we have the rest of the Frontliners doing their DC top 5 Rebirth issues throughout the rest of the week going through Monday. So before we jump into my top 5, I'm going to give you guys my least favorite DC Rebirth title first. And with that being said, none of them were bad. It was just that this one was my least favorite. And as of now, how long will I keep up with the title before maybe it drops down? So I don't know. We'll see. But that first book that I liked the least was The Flash, issue number 1. This book is okay, but I feel like it does a lot of it's almost like a slow burn because I mean we got to see Flash in the DC Rebirth special, and then we got to see the Rebirth issue, and now we get to see him here. And in this issue, you wind up seeing more of his origin story. And then you wind up seeing his partner at the end winds up getting affected by the lightning as well. And even though things seem to go full circle, it's just a story that just hasn't captured me yet. I'm hoping that as time goes, the story will capture me a little bit more because I'm curious to see who this guy is and the rest of the supporting cast that we know from Flash. And the story does look interesting. Now, when it comes to artwork in the story, same thing. It's okay artwork. I love the paneling here. When Flash is running, it seems like you're running side by side with him. But when it comes to like the characters themselves, they almost look like they're muddied up or just too much inks or whatnot. And that could be like the coloring, for instance. And I like a much more detailed, clean looking art and color when it comes to characters in this book. So right now this book hasn't captured me the way that some of the other DC titles have, and so right now if I got to give a rating for this series, I got to give it probably a 3 out of 5 stars. It's okay, it's average. I'm looking for it to be great though, especially with all the hype that surrounds the TV show and how popular the show is. Alright, so now we're going to go on to the top 5. So I had a really tough time determining what my 5th book would be. I didn't have any trouble doing 1 through 4. Those were almost like my clear cuts. But for number 5, I wanted to say I had a lot of number 5 possibilities out here. But for me, my number 5 book was Addictive Comics issue number 934. I thought this book was really well done. For me, it was right up there with like Green Lanterns. Even Aquaman surprised me this past week. It was, I had that in consideration. It was a very memorable type of issue. But when it comes to Detective Comics, I felt that this was a book that a lot of people were looking forward to, and it delivered in all the levels. It had a sense of mystery to it when it came to Azrael, as he was pretty much beaten to a pulp. There's a mystery villain in here, and we get to see wonderful artwork in this book, and then we get to see like a nice little introduction of characters that maybe we haven't seen before or in a while, and we get to see good interactions when it comes to Kate and Bruce in the book as well, and we get to see them starting to create this team. And as Batman does a narration in this book, we get to see him talk to Kate and who he wants on his team. And I thought that was really good. And it goes through like how it goes through Spoiler, and it goes through Cassandra, and how it goes through Tim, and it goes through Clayface. And there was a kind of an emotional moment for me when it came to Clayface. When he's sitting in the movie theater and he's just reminiscing about the old days. I thought it's just kind of an emotional moment there. So I liked how the team was formed and how Kate sits there and talks to Bruce and says, "Remember, I'm not beneath you. I'm your partner. I need you to tell me these things." And Bruce was very hidden from his from his family in the New 52. So hopefully things change there. But I really loved this particular issue. It was really good, and after the consideration, the series has great things in store for it. Now, I did like issue 935. However, it seemed like it took me a little bit. It was almost more of the same thing, just kind of formation of the team, and then you get that mystery villain at the end. But there was some really good moments there when it came to Red Robin and whatnot, and Batman. I thought those were really good emotional moments there. But I thought for me, this one was a good one. It really gets you hooked and wants you to read more going forward. So that was number 5 on the list. All right, so number 4 goes actually to Wonder Woman Rebirth special. This was another good introduction and to the Wonder Woman series, as we get to see Wonder Woman go through this transition from basically New 52 Wonder Woman to Rebirth Wonder Woman. And she's having these memories. She doesn't know what's right, what's wrong, where she stands. She uses the lasso of truth on herself, which I thought was really awesome in the book. And just the facial expression there when she uses it on herself was just outstanding. She's just like, she comes to this revelation, and it's just like, holy cow. And she realizes that things are not right. And I thought that was awesome. And then you get to see this transition from her being this like New 52 Wonder Woman to the Rebirth Wonder Woman. And then when you're reading the book, and the art is beautiful on both sides, the beginning and the end, we wind up seeing the transition to the Rebirth Wonder Woman. And it's just beautiful. It's just a very well told book. I love the narration in this book, and it seems to go back to like this mythology, and the follow-up issue was pretty good as well, especially the ending of it. But this was a nice way to kick off things for true Wonder Woman fans, and I really enjoyed this issue. So this time it got number 4. All right, and I'd be interested, I'm really interested to see where all these stories are going to be, 5, 7 issues from now, how they hold up from now, and how their story arcs are going. All right, so now we're going to go on to number 3, and number 3 goes to Titans Rebirth, issue number 1. Titans Rebirth Special. Sorry, it's kind of confusing when you got the number 1s and all the number 1s came out at the same time. This was another book that was very emotional for Wally and getting his team members back. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous in this book. When it comes to Brett Booth, there's sometimes where he makes his characters real lengthy, and he did the Flash towards the end of the New 52, and the artwork just didn't seem right at times. But for some reason in this book, in the Titans book, the art feels, it just fits the book, and you can see how much Wally cares for his team members in here, and slowly but surely you get to see him reunite with all those team members, and you get to see shared memories and just flashbacks, and it was a really emotional book. And by the time you wind up getting to the end of the book, we wind up seeing that, yeah, this team is back together, and they're going to be back in action, and I thought it was really good. You get to see Wally's new costume, and even himself second guesses if he should be wearing this costume or not, because he was very recognizable in the yellow costume, and a lot of fans of Wally were kind of questioning this red costume as well. So you can see maybe DC was thinking of it also. So I thought that was really neat as well. But this was a really good book, and I really enjoyed it. It was like my favorite book last week. A very emotional book. Gets me invested into the Titans series. All right, so what makes number 2? So number 2 is the book that kind of kicks it off for DC Rebirth, and that's the DC Universe Rebirth special. This book was really well done. I had a fun time reading it. Another reason why it gets such a, part of the reason why is it gets such a high grade is that this book is just 80 pages of pure goodness, and you paid only $2.99 for that. If a book ever came out from Marvel that was 80 pages long, it'd be like $10. So you're getting such the value here, and there was nothing spared of it being a half-ass issue. The artwork was absolutely gorgeous. It was such an emotional book with Wally inside of it, trying to get back to the current universe. He was wandering through time. You get to see a little bit of everybody in here, characters that you haven't seen in a long time. It was just a really emotional book. And when you read this part, when it came to Barry and Wally, it definitely, shed a tear in people's eyes that you haven't seen these two interact with each other in the longest time. And it was just awesome. And then by the time you wind up getting to the end of this page and you see Batman that has the Watchman symbol on it, you're kind of like, what the fuck? So it was a really good book all the way around. And this is the book that you can read 2, 3, 4, 5 times because there's so much in it and there's so much dialogue, but there's so much story. They just did not shed anything on this. They didn't, skip it. They didn't, make shortcuts. They put their heart and soul into this book, and it was well worth the money. And they really wanted to get their fan base back here and try to get people interested in DC Rebirth. So definitely, guys, if you haven't read it yet, the second printing has come out. Check it out. This was my number 2, though. And you're probably wondering, well, what was number 1 if that was like the one that kicked everything off and set the tone for DC Rebirth? Well, it was a book that came out this past week, and we were talking about it, all of us, on Comic Frontline, and it was Superman Action Comics issue 958. Superman, right now, ever since the final days of Superman, has been honestly my favorite DC series when it comes to Action Comics or Superman or whatever it was, how that whole story tied together. And now it transfers over to here. And this book, Dan Jurgens just writing it, just gives it that old school feel when it comes to the reign of Superman or the death of Superman, but just like told in a modern day version. And it's just so well done. And the artwork is absolutely beautiful in this book. The colors shine. You can really get a sense of how gargantuan and strong Doomsday is in this book. It's just like you saw it in the 90s, but with art and everything these days, how it's changed and it just makes things more realistic. You see just a larger scale of him. And the mystery that surrounds the character in the hood is awesome. Just the interactions with Lois and John in here was really nice. How she's kind of just trying to stay positive about things, but she's witnessed Clark's death before when it comes to Doomsday. Just Clark reliving everything about this whole story, with him battling Doomsday is just amazing. Then you get Clark Kent running around in there, and you got Lex Luthor running around in there, and it just makes for a wonderful story, and you kind of can't wait to see how things transpire as the issues go along. And you have like a modern telling of the reign of Superman here. I mean, you got your Superman, you got John, who's Superboy, you have Lex Luthor, who's kind of like Steel, you got just Clark Kent, who you think maybe Eradicator Superman that doesn't realize that he is Superman. It's just a really good book, and it's just action packed, and it just has action written all over it. I love this series. I love the last 2 issues of it. Again, I love the final days of Superman, and this is just bringing back the Superman kind of that we've read. Now, some people may argue with me on this as you're kind of rehashing things that have already been done, but this is the stuff that Superman fans really love. They love the character. They love with the interactions with Lois, and you throw in John in there, and then it's just a really fun story. I really enjoyed this one all the way around. This is the most memorable for me. And the one thing that I may have been disappointed when it comes to DC Rebirth is, even though I did like Green Lantern, it just missed my top 5. I wanted to put it in there, but it truly wasn't the top 5 books for me this month. But maybe next month it will. So guys, there is my top 5 books of the month of June when it comes to Rebirth. Now it's your turn in the comments below to tell me what your favorite top 5 Rebirth titles of the month. Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree with my list? And guys, don't forget to check out all the other Frontliners DC Rebirth top 5. And guys, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. And thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.